shore, relentless in the war. The legions in our hearts, shed waters in our voice. The spirit and the flesh, the emotions that arrest. The cerebral will contest, propelling the unrest. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded. The teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand. Stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Guess I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. With the semblance of a blaze, with gratitude and rage, we touch another page with delirious delight, impervious to light. This vitality and might encourages the flight. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand. Stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Guess I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. The world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Guess I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. You know, when it comes down to it, time is limited, right? Energy is limited. So the question of, is the juice worth the squeeze? How much bang for my buck am I getting whenever we encounter anything, whenever we need to do anything, whenever we need to expend energy, whenever we need to spend time, whenever we need to direct our efforts? The question of, is the juice worth the squeeze? Am I getting a lot of bang for my buck? Comes up. But what is that question really about? That question really is about efficiency. How much useful work am I getting for the amount of energy that I put in? I put in some energy in this car. I burn some hydrocarbons. I create this heat. And I use it for motion. Now, I try to reduce the amount of waste through noise and friction and other kinds of inefficiencies. What we're going to talk about today is 5 simple rules, ladies and gentlemen. 5 simple rules, 5 simple tips, 5 simple approaches to getting us to that energy saving state whereby we're getting the most bang for our buck. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Shout out to John Gilroy in the house. The early squad in the house. Young Swift is in the house. Carl Black, I believe. Sir Anthony. So Anthony is in the house.
Indeed, Carl Black. Input, output. What is the ratio? What is the difference? What was the waste? What was the waste? So we're going to get right into it. Okay. So just like the last stream, 5 rules for the growth mindset. Go check it out. This one too is going to be very straight to the point. We're going to go right ahead and we're going to see what this efficiency thing is all about. And we are going to break it down, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to give ourselves 5 little tips with which we can handle the situation. So basically, I have 5 rules here. The one touch rule: be an assistant to your future self. Externalize, use lists and charts and so on and so forth. In other words, outsource certain energy using aspects. Outsource it from your psyche, from your brain, put it somewhere else. Externalize things, right? Create tools, in other words. Create tools that make things easier for you, such that you use less energy and you can get the same kind of output. It's all about, is the juice worth the squeeze? Input versus output, bang for your buck. That's what efficiency is about, right? And just to introduce this, we have 5 of them. One says stop and breathe. We'll talk about what that is. Switch is the last one. In other words, change your task, change the tool or medium, change position, change location. Leave your sitting desk and go to your standing desk. Leave your office upstairs and go work in the kitchen. Drive, go to the library, something like that, right? Change from a spreadsheet to piece of paper, that kind of a thing. These are the rules, but we're going to take it in a granular fashion. Shout out to Snuggles in the house. The $5 super chat god in the house. Thank you very much. So now let's just look at what this inefficiency would be in terms of our mentality and our actions. In terms of our mentality and our actions, what is this efficiency that we're talking about? Because in terms of a car, we get it. We want to go ahead and burn that fossil fuel or use battery technology, electromagnetic voltage, right? And we want that to smoothly, seamlessly, efficiently transmit into transportation and electricity inside the car and heating and ventilation and so on and so forth with minimal waste. We understand what it is in machines, okay? But the analogy is mechanical. It's true. It follows. So if we were to ask the question, what is an efficient mind and set of habits? Because we're in this world of trying to get something done, and you're asking, how much bang for my buck am I getting? Then it is the concept of no friction, right? You want to reduce the friction. You have a car, again, let's say it's burning some kind of fuel. How could this energy be lost between the burning of the fuel to the rotating of the tires, rubber meets the road, and the car moves? How can the energy be lost? It can be lost definitely through friction, which then turns into heat, dissipates, right? Friction, noise, energy loss. So we cool things down, we lubricate things, and we make things more efficient, don't we? In that way. So what is the analogy of friction in the mindset or set of habits and so on and so forth? That's what the rules are going to address, okay? No wasted motion, okay? When you're driving from point A to point B, shortest line, is the straight line. If you constantly keep on zigzagging, there's going to be a lot of wasted motion, right? Isn't that right? Is that not correct? Again, How much input are you putting in? How much output are you getting out? What is the waste? How much juice are you getting for your squeeze? How much bang are you getting for your buck? How efficient are you being? This is something that is very, very key because we want efficient refrigerators. Isn't that right? We want efficient refrigerators. We want efficient cars. We want efficient cell phone batteries. Can I get an amen in the chat? Can I get a one in the chat? Isn't efficiency something that we want in all kinds of areas of our life and something that we understand that we do indeed need and that it is so important, right? And it makes the difference. It is what separates. I see. So if that is the case, we're saying, okay, we understand what this thing is. Energy can be lost. That is the key aspect here. Energy can be lost. Energy will be lost. There is no 100% efficiency. So what are these things that cause energy to get lost, right? Some simple things that we can do. These things will reduce friction and they will reduce wasted motion. Okay? Changes. Apologies for the typo. Minimal changes in direction, okay? Minimal changes in direction because it takes a change in direction takes something called a force, an acceleration, right? Whenever you have to turn, whenever you have to pivot, whenever you have to change direction, it takes energy, right? This is all an energy game, right? This efficiency thing, it's an energy game. It's an energy game. It's a bang for your buck game, ladies and gentlemen. So, some of the simple things that make us inefficient, we're not going to dwell on these. We're going to go directly into the rules, ladies and gentlemen. The 5 tips, that is, the 5 tips. But procrastination, resistance, should be fear and resistance, resistance and resistance. Shout out, ladies and gentlemen, in the house today. Indeed. So, recall the rules and now let's get into them in a granular fashion. The one touch rule, what's that about and what does it address? Does it address the friction aspect of things? Does it address the wasted motion aspect of things? Does it address the procrastination aspect of things, right? The resistance or the fear aspect of things, these things that make it inefficient, these things that are energy wasting, right? So on and so forth. How to get that time back. Time is limited, energy also limited, right? Be an assistant to your future self, externalize, stop and breathe, and then switch. So let's get into it in a granular fashion. Number 1, the one touch rule. Okay, the one touch rule is a simple but very powerful rule. The one touch rule basically goes like this. If you see it, think about it, or touch it, make sure that you take action regarding that particular task. Okay, so let's make it make more sense. Let's talk about where it comes from, and then we'll talk about certain instances of it. Basically, if you're building something, okay, you have bricks, right? And let's say this is a brick, okay? This is some wooden beam. We have a bag of cement over there. Basically, it's this. If I take up the brick and I pick it up, it's because I had better then move that brick where it goes. If I take up the brick and pick it up and I look at it, I think about it, and then I put it down, I pick up the wood, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should go for the bag of cement first. That is wasted motion. So basically, it is if I'm not going to move that beam from there to where it needs to go, I'm not going to move it at all. Or any movement of the beam will be such that it makes my life easier. I'm not just going to pick up blocks from point A and put blocks in point B. You get it, young Swift? Right? That's where it comes from. But we do this in many, many ways. And this is how we're going to look about how we do this in ways which are not obvious. You would not go about just picking blocks at a job site. Like, I will pick up this brick, I'll put it down. I pick up this wood, I put it down. No, you're going to think before you pick something up. And when you pick something up, you're going to do something about it. So when you go downstairs and you see something that you need to do, like let's say a coffee cup that you should wash, throw in the dishwasher or something like that, a particular letter that you should reply, a particular bill that you should pay, somebody you need to call, right? About some business, something you need to sign up for, whatever it may be, you see it, right? You see the piece of paper, you see the mail, you see the envelope. You see an envelope there, you walk by it, you think about the envelope. You're like, I should do that, but I'm not. Da, 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 da. Do you know what you're doing there? It's like walking around with big wind sails that and pushing against the wind. Basically, this one touch rule, okay, which says do not touch, look at, or think about a task without taking action. Yeah. I know it can be a little extreme, or it can sound extreme in this particular case. But yeah, if you walk by it, look at it, think about it, take laundry, for example. I don't know. Or you got to take certain things to the dry cleaner, right? You walk by it, you see the pile of suits over there in the corner of the closet or wherever it is. You look at it, you scratch your head, you don't do anything about it. You think that you're putting it into the future, but it is a very inefficient way of being because you are encumbered by the list in your head. Can I get a one if that makes sense? The list that you're keeping in your head takes energy. The fact that you're thinking and negotiating with the thing and trying to position it somewhere in your future and the uncertainty that comes with that takes energy, right? That's why it is best that when you just see it, you pick up those suits, you put it in the car. So the next time when you get in the car, you take it straight to the cleaners, because all that negotiation, keeping of lists in your head, reorganizing of thoughts, distraction, on and on and on and on, takes a lot of energy. You're not getting bang for your buck. The one touch rule is great, right? The reason it has to be a rule is because it doesn't come naturally. Because we want to just walk by, look at that thing, think about this thing, push things constantly into the future. Ain't that right? So it has to be a rule, something that you remember, that when you say, hey, you open up that email that you don't really want to answer it. It is the best thing to do. It is the most efficient thing to do. It is a thing that leaves you the most unencumbered, unburdened, unbelabored, and so on and so on and so on. It removes the whole wasted motion aspect. In other words, if you look from whence it comes, you pick up something, right? And you put it back down, only to come back and pick it up again. That is what you're doing with your mind. When you look at something, you pick it up with your mind. It's back there now. It didn't go anywhere. It did not disappear simply because you did not just choose to address it. It's now stuck in your head. You picked it up. And rather than put it where it goes, you pretended to put it back down, and also now carry a list that you got to come back there and pick it back up again. Well, if you're going to pick it up, just put it away. If you're going to look at that email and plan about how you're going to respond to it later, just respond to it now. Same thing with everything. Tends to work a lot more efficiently that way. This is one that you can apply right now, today, tomorrow, test it out. See the little things that you check off into your box and you procrastinate as you look at them, and start taking care of each and every one of them, and see how more fluidly, smoothly, and less turbulently your activities will begin to run, right? So that's rule number one, the one touch rule, okay? It's a very powerful one, but a very simple one. The one touch rule. You can have that one for free. Be an assistant to your future self. This is another one that I made a video on a few months ago. Basically, It says this: you want to remove obstacles from the path of your future self. If you know you got to go to the gym tomorrow, if you know you have a meeting tomorrow, if you know that you got to put a particular bag of files and a laptop and have your coffee and your car keys ready for whatever reason tomorrow, whatever it may be in your future that you need to do, whatever it is that's going to make it harder for you to do that in the tomorrow, take care of it for yourself now. If you got to go to the gym, then, or if you got to work out, put your workout clothes right there. Even sleep right next to it. Put the shoes in a place where you can easily get them. Basically, what you're doing is you're reducing friction from your path. We talked about efficiency. This is a very real mechanical thing that we have an intuition for. We said, hey, wasted motion, friction, friction that causes heat and loss of through noise and so on and so forth. These are the things we're trying to eliminate, but in this case, not from our cars and our refrigerators. We're trying to eliminate it from our habits and our mindset. And we know, yes, that inefficiency lurks in there. The friction lurks in there too. And getting rid of it can really give us an extra boost. Massive exponential growth can be made by increasing your efficiency. Okay. So being this assistant to your future self, right? Remove sources of friction from your future. Make it easier for you to be able to make the right decision tomorrow, which is go to the gym. Make it easier for you to get up tomorrow and see that actually the dishes are done, because you like to walk into a clean kitchen. You like to walk into a closet that is well organized. Then do that for yourself in the future. The idea basically, though, the backstory of this is to look at yourself as a community of people, always. And one way that this community gets divided up, because there are other ways in the sense of, there's different psychological, there are different personalities in your head, for example, or at least different drives vying for power, philosophizing in there about why they are right. Big head versus little head. Ain't that right, young Swift? Big head versus little head is in there, each one making very cogent arguments about why they're correct, why their way is the right way, and why this is a disgrace that they're not having their way or whatever. So basically, looking at yourself as a community can also be broken down into your present self, your future self, and your past self. Okay, so you have young Swift, which is right now, and then you had younger Swift, and then you have old Swift in the future. You want to treat your present self as the assistant of your future self. The additional result besides the efficiency that you get is this. Not only do you get efficiency out of this, you also get the idea of looking at your past self with admiration. Can I get a one in the chat? Looking at your past self with admiration, self-esteem, if you want to call it, which is also a powerful boost for harnessing your energy. You look at your past self with admiration, because my past self put these clothes laid out for me here so that I can easily go to the gym. It packed my laptop bag and put it in my car so that I can easily take this meeting tomorrow. It did this, it does this, it does this. My past self made it such that I walk into my house and the kitchen is clean. It's nice. That past Ike guy, he's cool. When you're okay with yourself, people may call this self-esteem or certain other kinds of things, but it is also a key to harnessing your energy. This is an energy game. It's a bang for your buck game. It's a juice for the squeeze game, efficiency game, right? So remove sources of friction from your future. You do those things. You're like, okay, what's going to make it easier for me to go to the gym tomorrow? What's going to make it easier for me when I wake up tomorrow and have to go to this meeting? There are many things that suck about waking up and doing this or going to the gym, blah, blah, blah. You can right now in your present time, be the assistant to that future self and take care of those particular things. And then when you see that you took care of them, you will look back at yourself with glee, and it becomes a happy community of present self, future self, and past self. And you guys transact with each other. And that is how That is how you conquer those goals, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. And obviously, the reverse situation is true, which is don't put obstacles in the path of your future self. This is inherently an aspect too of the one touch rule. The one touch rule will make it such that you no longer say, hey, I'm going to pick up this thing and then I'm just going to throw it into the path of future Ike. That's creating friction and obstacles, reasons for swerving and wasted motion, right? These inefficient things. Inefficiency coming from friction, inefficiency coming from wasted motion, changes in direction, so on and so forth, right? So removing obstacles from the path, not putting obstacles in the path of your future self, super key to being able to slide through and skate through things. It takes time to build up this momentum where you get into the habit of the one touch rule. Whenever you touch something, you take care of it. Whenever you think of doing those dishes, you do them. Whenever you think of responding to that email, you respond to it rather than throw it in the path of your future self. You're like, Sir Anthony, you're like, current Sir Anthony does not want to deal with this. So future Sir Anthony has to take the hit. Like, screw that guy. Screw future Sir Anthony. Right? He can take the fall. I want to chill. I want to chill. I want to eat some Doritos. I don't want to be responsible right now. So my future self, yeah, he can take it. Screw that guy. There's a scene from Simpson where Homer was doing something rather stupid. I think he was drinking a bunch of beers, eating donuts, and so on and so forth. And he's like, he knows it's going to be horrible for future Homer, but it was like, that's a problem for future Homer. I'm lucky I'm not that guy. But that's exactly what we're doing. You're like, oh, the future, that future Ike or future whomever, future young Swift or old Swift, they will take care of it. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at some simple rules here for this efficiency game. The one touch rule and now being assistant to your future self have both been addressed. With the one touch rule really taking away friction, the friction of carrying a list in your head, right? So you go ahead and you do the action, take it out of the path, take the list out of your head so that you can move more freely. Then, being an assistant to your future self, that one does many things on many different levels, as we just explained. Removes the obstacles, gives you power because you have esteem for yourself. And then now we're talking about externalization. Okay, let's externalize. It's a key aspect of efficiency as well. Externalization basically is about using tools. Simply, that's what it means. You use tools so that you can upload energy to these tools. A list is a tool. Isn't that right? A list is a tool. It's an external thing. You can keep the list in your head, for example, as some kind of a mental object, holding it there with your mental tool. But if you want to relieve energy from your mental tool, you take it and you write down on a piece of paper. Now, here's something that I often do. And what I mean by this list thing goes a little something like this. You write down a list of tasks that you need to do in order to reach a bigger goal. Two things are going to happen while you're writing down this list of tasks. You're going to be able to forecast the path of least resistance. Because if you just go into an action, right? If you just alpha your way through an action without having some kind of forethought or some kind of a system, you might not be going through the path of least resistance because you didn't think about the progress of I'll do this first. First comes A, B, and then I'll do C. Okay, I see. Okay, cool. D can hold on for a while. I'll hop off to F and H, and then I'll circle back, blah, blah, blah. So you're storyboarding, you're creating a diagram, or you're using a chart or calendars or lists, right? So down to the granular level, especially when you get tired, for example, you get tired. You're like, oh my God, what can I do here? you break it down to something as simple as this. It's like, well, compile files. It can get down to this point. You can literally say, read email from Dr. X, right? Compile, because you already know what Dr. X is probably asking for. Then you're like, okay, then after that, I'm going to need to go to the file that has all those particular drawings and contract documents that I need for Dr. X, because Dr. X is a client of Prometheus Engineering or something like that, right? And then once I get those files, I'm going to need to modify the files. I literally write those things down, like very granular tasks, like just right on my desk. Like, okay, I got to do this very simple thing. I just externalize it. That way, it's a lot easier. And let me get a one in the chat if you understand that. It's a lot easier to just go through step one, open email from Dr. X. Step two, read email from Dr. X. Step three, go to the folder that contains the details and contract documents for Dr. X. Step four, open Adobe PDF modifier. Step five, right? It takes a lot less energy. So you just do that first. You externalize, you put it down here, boom. Now it's not in your head anymore. Now you're loose and you're free. You can simply just go step one, step two, step three while smoking a cigar or sipping whiskey or something. Makes it a lot easier. Externalization, it's like counting with your fingers. Sometimes you got to do it, right? Isn't that right, young Swift? The finger counting association chairman, young Swift. So we're talking about efficiency. We're talking about bang for your buck. We're talking about input versus output. We're talking about waste, minimizing it, minimizing waste, minimizing friction, minimizing unwanted movement. Indeed, indeed, indeed. So we've talked about things like using tools, things also that involve the mindset. I think now it's time to talk about, after we close out the externalization, we're going to talk about stopping and breathing, okay? Just stop and breathe. But let's look at externalization. Basically, it removes sources of friction, right, from the future. We already kind of know. We talk about the list and the charts and the calendars and so on and so forth. And it makes it such that you don't put obstacles in your future. I was going to say, do not put obstacles in the path of your future self, right? Same thing up here with being the assistant of your future self. But you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to stop. You need to stop. Stop. Drop. Shut it down. Open up shop. Oh, no. There's a Rough Riders. Niggas wanna try. Niggas wanna die. And niggas wonder. Nigga, all I know is pain. All I feel is rain. How can I maintain without shit on my brain? I resort to violence. Niggas move in silence like you don't know what our style is. New York, it's the wildest. My dogs is with it. You want it? Come and get it. Ha! You know what I'm saying? So, R.I.P. Yes, yes, yes. Ain't no way you're gonna stop my flow. Ain't no way your niggas just don't know where niggas is about to go. Oh no, oh no. Ain't no way you're gonna stop my shine. Ain't no way you're gonna stop. Indeed. Stop and check the system. Stop. See where the feelings in the body are. the states of your subjective consciousness, see where the mental space is. Are there obvious sources of friction there? Because you could be operating all day, doing what you're doing, spreadsheeting, calling, sipping coffee, feeling particularly good about yourself, closing deals, getting purchase orders, all that kind of good stuff, right? But you may be inefficient inside. There may be things in your mind that you have not paid attention to, and things in your body that you have not paid attention to. If you don't pay attention to things in your body and your mind, they become sources of all kinds of problems down the line. Simple concept. We know this intuitively. If you don't listen to your body's little tap that it gives you on the shoulder, then it'll resort to whispering in your ear. Then it'll resort to talking loudly at you. Then it'll resort to yelling at you. And then it'll hit you across the head with a sledgehammer. Okay. So our body needs to be felt, observed, right? Mind space, images and talking the head need to be observed. How they're flowing. What are the inefficiencies in there? Check out my meditation series where we talk about why and how to meditate. Ongoing series, ladies and gentlemen. Might do another one within the next week as we go. So rising in the morning and I'm hitting the road. I will, I will, I will, I will. No particular destination, no route on the stroll. I will, I will, I will, I will. And in this journey I will live, I will love, I will learn. Booyaka. So, I and I privileged to be on this holy sojourn, not for the reward or the glory, but for searching I yearn. Ah we oh, ah we oh, ah we oh, ah we oh. Stop and breathe. Check the efficiency of your subjective state, feelings in the body, mental activities. There are sources in there. Sup, nicer? Sources of inefficiency. Blockages. Shallow breathing. Watch out for shallow breathing. It can go unobserved, but it is a source of inefficiency. Just think about it. It's like, the car's intake, or, the air filters are clogged, that kind of a thing, right? Watch out for that shallow breathing. Shout out to Dr. Thunder in the house. Shout out to Chaos Rain in the house, ladies and gentlemen. So stop and breathe. This is rule number 4. 5 tips, ladies and gentlemen. The one touch rule, remember? Be an assistant to your future self, remember? Externalize, remember? This gives you bang for your buck. Make sure you're getting the most juice out of your squeeze. Make sure you're operating in the most efficient manner vis-a-vis your mindset and your habits. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're talking about today. And we're keeping it simple, measurable, actionable, intuitive. Listen, when it comes to dope, I want to tell you. Redeem my feet, my shit up the right way. No room for no flip, no flop, and no failure. Comfy nice the place like Tipper Ire. Assess the state of your body, right? That's why you also stop and check. That is why we also stop and check in this case here. Simple reasons. Assess the state of your body: hydration, need for rest, exercise, etc., etc., etc. Right? And then we get into switch. The switch is the last one. The switch, this one is very tactical, okay? This is a tactical one. This is one you always got to kind of keep in your back pocket. It generally works, okay? Does anybody know or heard me talk about the switch before? The changing of tasks, change the tool or the medium, change the position, change your location, right? What is our experience with that? How do we notice? Haven't we noticed that if we go from one location and all of a sudden we decide to go sit under a tree at the park and do the work, all of a sudden you may have a lot of energy to do the work. Or you switch from task A on the spreadsheet to task B, which involves thinking about possible ways of raising funds after reading some proposal from Dr. X again, right? So changing the tool, whether it be going from a computer spreadsheet to handwritten, changing the medium, what you're using to express yourself. Are you talking? Are you emailing? Are you typing? Or are you writing with your hand? You can switch all these. Whenever you start losing efficiency in one of them, you have another battery in another. It's like we have a series of cells. That's why it's called a battery of cells. Cell is for singular and then battery is for plural. Yeah. But anyways, you have each battery kind of has a charge of its own and it's responsible for doing a certain kind of task with a certain part of your apparatus. So you can switch medium or task. And if your typing skills or your typing battery is low, you may find that your handwriting batteries are still high. If your spreadsheet battery is low, if your sitting battery is low, you stand up. If your this room battery is low, go to the next room. You'll find many things of this nature will simply turn a new leaf. It's like opening a brand new page. It looks fresh, it looks clean. You shake yourself off like a dog or a duck, and you're ready to attack again. Super key, tactical thing, keep in the back of your pocket. In the back of your pocket. I see. Does the switch thing make sense though? There's so many things. There are many dimensions. That's why I say, there's a location switch from one location to the other. There's a task switch. There's a medium switch. There's a position switch. You can switch many, many different aspects of both what you're doing, how you're doing it, where you're doing it, and with what you're doing it on. All kinds of things like that. Just switch them, and boom. It's like magic. It's like magic, nicer. You get the magic of inspiration simply by changing locations, right? And all of a sudden, the kitchen seems like the best place to sit down and type this email to this silly person in the accounting department, right? The Harlem Shake indeed. The Harlem Shake indeed. So, as I said, you have different batteries for different tasks, okay? Novelty, changing location can be inspirational. That can change things for you. So, let's do a quick recap. It's a short one today, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Trying to keep these shorter, but more consistent with the nuggets in there. And then every once in a while, maybe I'll bring on Jay Ibrahim, and then we can do our Philosopher King stuff. Wax poetic. How does that sound, practitioner? So we'll give you some simple, nice 2D slices of bread, like this is the thing. And every once in a while, we bust out the scotch, me and Dr. Thunder, me and Jay Ibrahim or something, and we talk about some lofty things, some lofty ideas in grand plans of world domination. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to dominate the world, you're definitely going to need to be efficient, going to need to get more bang for your buck. The one touch rule. If you look at it, you touch it, you pick it up, you do what you need to do with it. Coming from the construction world, it says, hey, you pick up this particular brick, you don't just put the brick down. Now that you've picked it up, you go put it where it goes. Okay. You walk by that particular thing. It may be your laundry or dry cleaning, whatever it may be, an email you got to send, a particular piece of mail or bill or municipal tax thing you got to pay, and you keep putting it off. No, the one touch rule says once you touch it, put the brick away. It's like picking up a brick and putting it down, picking up a brick and putting it down. But you're doing that mentally, you're doing that in terms of your habits. Okay? Don't do that. That's not efficient. Be an assistant to your future self. Be an assistant to your future self. Make things easier for your future self. Remove obstacles from the path of your future self. And don't put obstacles in the path of your future self. Don't say, hey, screw that future person. All right? Right now, I'm going to be irresponsible. I'm going to do bad things. Externalize. Use lists. Okay? Externalize. Externalize it. Don't criticize it. Externalize it. Yeah. Yeah. And I will advertise it. So, using lists and things like that take away the burden of energy. So you're using less energy with your mind, with your brain, with your thinking, mental space. So you use these tools. Lists are tools. And you can get very granular with it, especially when you're getting a little tired. You can literally write in a very structured and simple way, step-by-step things to do things that you already know how to do. You know how to do it, but it takes more energy to do it without a list. You can write down the list of things that you need to do. We give the example of opening an email from Dr. X. So I'm going to write open email from Dr. X, get files for contract documents in the folder for Dr. X, open Adobe Reader, Acrobat, whatever, open those files, compare this, change that, blah, 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 send email back to Dr. X. Writing those things down, I can easily, even in low energy states, be able to check off those tasks and get that task done, as opposed to me trying to do it without the list. So stop and breathe. Assess the situation that is going on in the body, in the mind. Assess the situation that is going on with regards to your energy, with regards to your exercise, with regards to your sleep. Assess what is going on. These habits compound on each other and they work together within the arenas of removing useless motion, redundant motion, removing friction from your path, removing constant changes in direction. It takes energy to change direction. It takes acceleration to change direction, which causes a force. You need a force to change direction, right? Unwarranted changes in direction, wasted motion, so on and so on. When trouble sleep, younger go we come. Waiting in they find balava. In they find balava, he go get you. Balava, he go get. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go out there and let us be more efficient by practicing these 5 simple rules. If we go back to the idea of what efficiency is, it's about no friction, no waste of motion, minimal changes in direction. Procrastination, resistance, and fear. Those are the things that also you watch out for to keep you inefficient with regard, and also certain just blind things that we do that if we were to do them in the physical world, it'll look stupid, such as picking up bricks and putting them down, but we do them in the mental world. We always pick up mental bricks and then we put it back down rather than move it where it needs to go. And then we carry another mental little brick called a list of all the bricks that we've left behind. Like, I'm going to keep a list of all these bricks that I left behind. I keep walking past all these things that I know I need to do. I keep just thinking about them, looking at them, cataloging them, spending a lot of energy and a lot of time cataloging bricks that I got to go back to pick up. A lot of energy and time with keeping up the list and having a management system for that list, and a lot of energy and time picking up something that you got to go back and then pick up again. It's redundancy, it's waste. So the one touch rule, I would say, is what shoots off. It's the key aspect, or it's the number one, it's the pivot point. Okay, it's what then makes all these other things possible. The whole being your assistant to your future self, it's a lot better too with the one touch rule combined. Externalization, stop and breathe, switch, so on and so on, ladies and gentlemen. Hands are clapping and raising, ovation and pleasant demonstration, feet are shuffling and shaking. Let's take ourselves out with a little bit of Live Up. This one is called Live Up. And it's a fun little song. You can find this on iTunes. It's in the music that's already out there, that's currently out there. I like it because it's fun. It's not weighty. It's not bluesy. It's not tragic hero stuff. It's just good old fun. Cheesy, the whole nine. Back on stage, back to the story, back to the page, back to the labyrinth, back to the maze, back on board like back in the days. Hands are clapping and raising, ovation and pleasant demonstration. Feet are shuffling and shaking, lights are blazing, feeling the pure contagion. And we build a joyful montage that the hands of evil can sabotage. Family here and at large, you should learn to live and take charge, for we are driven on the path to make a spark. We never give in. We got the heart to face the dark. We are the living, gathered here from near and far. And we will live up so the world can hear our song. Front of the line, front of the space, confronting the time. Front me the word at the front of the shrine, up front with the love, no front on mine. For life is for the living, from the beginning. Bring truth to your bidding. Stand firm and stay willing, and make sure that your light you're never concealing. For there is no way to compare all the peace and love that is truly there with your minor worries and cares. You should learn to live up with flair. Know what I'm saying? So, with that, we shall bid you adieu, and we will be back on Saturday. Yes, Saturday. And Saturday is where I've decided to put the more heady, bookish, expansive, going to the left and the right and underneath and all over the place types of conversations. So we'll go there. Maybe we'll talk about meditation, or we'll go back to continue the geopolitical conversation, or the conversation which is titled, and I recommend that you go listen to this one, called How to Succeed in the Next 20 Years. And we looked at things from a perspective of technology, which is new things. Okay, think of technology as new things, and then globalization, which is about copying of these things and spreading them out. These two things represent opportunity. Technology going from 0 to 1, building something that did not exist before, creating a new market, and so on and so forth, creating new efficiencies. Okay, what can we forecast? What are the trends that we can see within the next 20 years, and things that we can hitch our wagons to stars and so on and so forth, ride the waves and so on and so forth. And then you have, on the other hand, globalization, which is the spreading of things that already exist, right? You know, you go from a typewriter to a word processor. That's technology change. And then you copy the word processors. You make the different kinds of word processors. There are people who also make different software for it. And you take word processors all through sub-Saharan Africa and blah blah blah. These two things. But there's also a geopolitical aspect of things in terms of the trends that we can forecast and so on and so forth. So that may be an aspect of the conversation that we have, or we'll talk about the meditation thing. But on Saturdays is where we will be coming with that kind of content. But for Tuesdays and Thursdays, we will keep it on a very nice, clean slice. Here are 5 bullet points on how to get ish done. Speaking of that, don't forget to catch me and Dr. Thunder getting ish done, coming to you in less than a week. Yes. And thank you to all the patrons. Yes, things are coming up. Yes, things are in the works. Yes, those things will happen. And I definitely appreciate the support. And for those of you who are not patrons, go and join that right now, because Good things are gone. Good things are gone. Peace.
In the den of iniquity, vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment, what a pity. Tomorrow never certain, what dwells behind the curtain, the face of evil smirking with the shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble, that either pop or topple, many will fall and stumble, let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso, cannons could reach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising and hearts are compromising, convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest and the righteous in your corners. Go. Run, 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 make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. Run for the hills, let the will lead the mind. For living is the thrill with the doubt left behind. Amidst all the wicked, there is beauty to behold. We are fearless and intrepid from the depths of our soul. The hands of the steady glees the rose from the bone. The sweat of the weary brings us close to the dawn. The motion of the wheel brings the light to the mind. Chain be aligned, it's divine. Run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling on your daughters and your sons, they come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, come, make we get it. Calling on your daughters and your sons, they come forget it. Run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. Run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, come, make we get it.